How we doing? Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, with my guy out of North Carolina, Mr. Idris Salam,
Yo,
aka Bosco from the Bronx.
that is me. What's up? What's up?
How you doing, man? How was your day today?
Relaxing.
I can't say the same, dude. I was like nonstop, but got
Yeah.
home in time,
Mm,
put our notes together, get our banners right, get things
mm,
going for tonight's show.
yeah.
And we got quite a bit to talk about, man. On
Yes,
tonight's
sir.
show, we're
Yes,
going to talk about the process of elimination in terms of baby daddies. That
sir.
is an interesting one. We're going to hit on the NHL playoffs and talk about what we think Zappy Stars and our Rangers are going to do with the remaining 3 games left. Each game is now the best of 3. Angel Hernandez, one of our ultimate favorites, reluctantly retires. Yankees at Halos. We have an Aaron Boone ejection. We're going to hit on some of that. Mike Zappi's idea, one that I think is really amazing. Our rankings on the best NBA guard combos of all time. I'm going to give mine. Idris is going to reply and rebuttal if he thinks I'm not right with some of my takes on this. And I also want to talk about some of the Boston hate that I think the Celtics may or may not be fairly getting. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. What's up, Daniel? Thanks for joining, bro.
Nunez.
I know her.
I know how to. Hey, ain't that shit? Yeah, what's up now? What up, Jid?
Staying up late with us. Appreciate that always. We will be back in just a moment. Enjoy this intro.
Yes, sir.
All right. We are back. Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. Does that say garbage? Is that Red Sox hate shirt that you got over there? Sure.
It's ironic we're going to talk about some stuff I just happened to wear today.
I love it. Honestly, dude, I love it.
Yeah. It's one of my best shirts, man. It's one of my best shirts.
Good work, Idris. I like it, bro. Very, very good.
It's a lot of Red Sox fans around here. Was there actually a lot of Yankee haters around here? So when they see this shirt, they kind of like root for the Red Sox. Forget the Red Sox.
Well, the Yankees and the Red Sox, for that matter, there is no in between. There is no indifference. You either love them or you hate them. There is literally no in between.
One or the other.
When it comes to those two organizations, that's a fact.
Oh man, I just noticed the banner up there, live with StreamYard.
Yeah, I don't know if I accidentally just clicked that. I have seen it up here in the past.
I like it though.
Yeah, it's decent. That duck used to be annoying before I had a logo, not nearly as annoying now.
Yeah. I don't know why they picked the duck though,
No, because the thing was, like, the duck was over my head. You could use your imagination.
Yeah.
All right. And speaking of, droppings and just someone who doesn't like to be accountable.
Oh.
Angel Hernandez reluctantly retiring, literally one of the more controversial umpires in the history of Major League Baseball. But they have a really strong union, and it's hard for these guys to, lose their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy. And it's not just because like he screws everybody. This is like universal.
Yeah. He's just
It's not like he has his favorites or anything. The guy
a
was
movie
just
star. That's
terrible.
what that is.
But what I was told is that, he kind of got his Daniel Nunez. Bye, Angel Dickweed. Tell him how you really feel, Daniel. No, at that level of competition, it's just unacceptable. You cannot possibly have that kind of inadequacy in such, you just can't at that level. You can't. But from my understanding, he was kind of backed into a corner on this one, and per usual, similar to whenever he got called out during his umpiring career, just doesn't want to take responsibility for any of it. Les Diaz is another guy that I'd be okay with them moving on from.
Yeah.
He's terrible too. But we got rid of one. Rid of one.
He seemed like he wanted to be a movie star on the field. Like he wanted
know. If you see too much of a referee, an umpire, whatever have you, then a little too much wanting to be hold up in the videos. Yes, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Got a little diddler in him in that regard.
What's the umpire some years ago? He was another one to be a movie star.
I know who you're talking about too, and I got his face in my head. But yes, it's never a good look when
it's called a game, man.
Just call the game. Like, and you know who I feel bad for? I actually feel bad for a guy like a Jim Joyce, who made a genuine mistake, but he was actually a very good umpire.
He's a good umpire.
I mean, he was brought to tears.
Yeah.
Ruining Galarraga's perfect game. But that you could forgive because that was literal human error, while it was like one of the most egregious missed calls of all time. And you feel for the guy who doesn't get to be etched in, basically immortality to have that perfect game.
Yeah, that was an honest mistake. It was a bad one, but it was an honest mistake. Yeah, Nunez, he's on it tonight.
Firing on all cylinders.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I like the honesty more than we got from Mr. Hernandez.
Just call a game. I mean, if you're a good umpire, you're going to get your name. You're going to get your name. They're going to be like, yeah, you're going to get all the Hall of Fame. You're going to get all the accolades you want. Call it. I mean, it's good to be animated, because even back in the days of
Tommy, like even in the NFL, like you had Ed Hockley, who looked like he was more jacked than some of the players.
His son is the same way.
Yeah. I remember Mike Carey, like certain guys you remember.
Yeah, he's another one.
Yeah. Certain guys you literally remember.
Because like if you look back at time, like during the Tommy Lasorda days and all them, you had Lasorda, because Lasorda was fiery. What's the guy?
Martin, bro.
Billy Martin, Earl Weaver. These guys, they were animated managers, and they got in the face of some of the umpires and all. But those umpires got their names because they had the interaction with the manager.
And there's a certain science to dealing with essentially getting cursed out.
Yeah.
But doing it in a professional way too, because that is also part of that job, is that you got to let these guys go off occasionally.
Yeah.
As long as they keep it within the realm of reasonability.
Yeah, you get your name you'll get a good name as an umpire. Like, remember when so-and-so threw out Tommy Lasorda, or threw out, they remember you, and it's not in a bad way. It goes into folklore, like, yeah, remember that. And that's your history right there. But
if you want to see the proper way to deal with a heated situation, look no further and look it up on YouTube. Former Mets manager Terry Collins going off. That umpire couldn't have played it any better. And Terry had a point too, to be fair. It involved Noah Syndergaard. Look at it on YouTube if you want to really see the science of how to be professional while still getting cussed out, but also holding your own too. Because he cursed him. He cursed him back.
It was funny because he was so professional about it, but he let him know, like, look here, man.
Yeah. And he told him, get it out. It was funny. And speaking of ejections and umpiring, this is a bizarre one that happened tonight. The game is still going on. I believe the Yankees scored a second run. I'm going to double check that. But Yankees at Halos. Aaron Boone ejected again.
Yeah.
Early in the first, Giancarlo Stanton had the bases loaded. The infield fly rule gets called if, it's a pop-up and there's, the bases are sacked. So, interesting. Juan Soto, who was essentially just holding his position at second base, runs into the player that's going to make the catch.
Right.
And they call Soto out.
Soto out.
Listen, I got to be on Boone's side on this one.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to a point where it's like,
what are you going to do? You gotta leave the
where
base.
was Soto supposed to go?
Right, what are you going
was he supposed to leave the base?
The infield fly rule is in there. Batter's automatically out.
I mean, I understand. Like initially, like your instinct is to jump off the bag a couple of feet, see what's happening.
Yeah.
So because amongst a lot of umpires, they kind of have a nickname. They call him Karen Boone, and some of it is deserved because he does bitch a lot.
He bitches a lot.
Yes, he does. But I gotta be on his side tonight.
Yeah. That was bogus.
But I do think that at certain times when dude, he's got a couple of weird toss-outs this year. A fan was cursing at an ump over the Yankee dugout earlier in the season in the Bronx, and he got kicked out for that.
And that wasn't even on him, dude.
No, I can even understand if your players are not under control. I can understand that.
Yeah.
But to get kicked out for a fan? And
the
fan is, that's wild. And I do think that's one of those situations with Boone where it's almost like your reputation precedes.
Yeah. He's a Yankees too, so it's just like the Dallas Cowboys. You're gonna have that microscope on you. You're the Yankees, the most winningest.
The Lakers, those caliber of teams.
Yeah, it's gonna
franchises,
happen.
I should say. That's absolutely couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that was crazy though. Oh well, Karen Boone. That's my manager though.
And I'll tell you what, past the managerial aspect of things, as you hold that shirt up one more time, he will always be etched in Yankee history, even before he ever took over the managerial reins. Yeah. He was only a Yankee for, I don't know, about a half season.
Yeah.
But his home run in Game 7 of the 2003 American League Championship Series, extending the curse of the Bambino for one more year before they finally did break through against us and ultimately beat the St. Louis Cardinals to win their first World Series in 86 years. First one since 1918. That's absurd.
I mean, he's not Bucky Dent, but, he I don't think anything was surprised.
No, Bucky Dent is another. By the way, while we're on the topic of the Yankees, have you had an opportunity to see the Peacock special on the Yankees, the Bronx Zoo, kind of honing in on the circus that was the 1990 New York Yankees regular season?
I think I did see it.
It was good, bro. If you haven't, give it a look. But basically, they hone in.
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. No.
They hone in on how toxic and just the environment. Because you mentioned Bucky Dent, and that kind of sparked. Because Bucky Dent did manage that team for a while before they canned him for Stump Merrill. Yeah. They kind of led it up to the dynasty and how we got the dynasty. How we got to the dynasty is well documented.
Gene Michael took over, right?
Yeah, Gene Michael was part of it. Bob Watson, ultimately Buck Showalter before Joe Torre.
Yeah.
But they really honed in on why and how George Steinbrenner and the dirty dealings that he was into with Spiro.
Yeah.
Spiro, that was.
Oh, Spiro, man.
Yeah, it's a good watch. And Dave Winfield and honestly, why Dave Winfield has never really come back for anything.
He's never come back.
I didn't know about Mel Hall until I knew about Mel Hall, but you gotta watch this.
I gotta check it out. I knew about that, like I knew about Spiro and all that, Mel Hall, but I didn't.
Bro, Mel Hall.
I only know what we saw. Huh?
from the jail. He's in for like 4 decades.
Yeah, I know he's been in forever. I didn't know he was in
I
Indy,
was
though.
not aware of that.
I
But
didn't
this
know he was
team had
locked
some
up.
characters. I mean, Pascual Perez.
Oh, that's a name from a past.
Yeah, rest in peace. You know,
Yeah.
he had his demons off the field as well.
I didn't know he was locked up. I did not know that. Because I know Spiro was grime. I knew about Spiro.
Oh no. Well, you know, to be fair, and I don't like to speak ill of the dead. I love George Steinbrenner, but Steinbrenner had his nastiness to him too. Make no mistake. You know, he was willing to do anything to get rid of Dave Winfield, whether it was moral or not.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he thought he was replacing Reggie Jackson with an equal. And let's be real, there's only one Reggie Jackson.
Oh, no Reggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely a good watch. And
I just got to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Check it out. I'm going to give you guys a quick score on the Yanks. I'm all over the place tonight because, just walked in and I just exploding on the scores. Wanted to make sure that I was able to keep up with everything.
Let's see what we got going on.
Because I'll be the first to tell you with everything going on with the New York Rangers right now, 2-1 top of the 8th, and it is on.
We were on a California swing, right? Because we had a
we got the Giants after that too.
Yeah,
and that's a rare series. So that's a cool one.
Right.
We're gonna move it along to the NHL playoffs before we hit on a deep basketball segment. What we see coming. What's happening now? The Dallas Stars, our other co-host, Mike Zappi, his boys took it on the chin tonight, 5-2 to the Edmonton Oilers. That is squared at 2. Yep. New York Rangers, our team. I got to be as unbiased as possible.
Yeah,
we are so fortunate to be tied 2-2 with the Florida Panthers.
Yeah,
everything that I said on the other show when Brett was on and how we won literally is the same shit that happened the next game.
But even more right now, it should be 4-0 Florida.
There is a different energy. I'm just going to be blunt and honest. I feel that the Florida Panthers have been out skating the Rangers, out hustling the Rangers, and they're just taking better care of the puck. I mean, Mika Zibanejad literally single-handedly cost us this game. And in addition to it, he's been a shell of himself since this series started. He hasn't done anything since the Carolina series.
Right.
I mean, Panarin's been struggling. Lafreniere has been awesome. We're getting it from Fox. A lot of guys that are on the second, third, fourth lines, but our big stars have been coming up small, and I cannot say enough about how phenomenal Igor Shesterkin is.
Igor, that's my dude, man.
best goalie on the planet. Daniel Newton has Stars in 7, Panthers in 7. I agree with one of those. Daniel, just to give you a heads up, but from the beginning of the hockey playoffs, like when the bracket came out, the original bracket for round 1 and how everything goes, I have been right about round 1 and next rounds thoroughly. I have not been wrong on anything in hockey yet. Some of them nailing the exact game. So, well, I do have the Stars in 7, oddly enough, not just based on this week. I'm talking about a month ago. I predicted this.
Yeah, from the jump, yeah.
I got the Rangers over the Panthers in 7, but I must admit, I am not comfortable about anything that I've seen. And I will say this. If we lose game 5, we're not winning this series.
We're not winning this series.
I will say that. The winner of game 5 is going to win this series.
We got to put them away because we're not even putting them away. All these overtime games, dude.
I'm telling you, bro, I am not playing. I wholeheartedly believe that this series could already be over in favor of those guys.
Yeah, I say 4. It should be 4-0 because
the Rangers have maximized small window opportunities.
Yeah.
And they do have a knack for not panicking in these kind of games. I'm going to give them that. They do have some guts, but it's hard for me to say that Florida hasn't been better. And that's as unbiased as I could be.
If Florida could finish, this game would be the series would be over. They just can't, like I said in the last, earlier this year, I said they can't finish because they got the championship. They know what it's like to be there.
I think what annoys me is that I would have liked to see how that OT played out if Zibanejad didn't essentially just feed a goal to them.
Right.
Literally did. And on top of it, he barely missed scoring in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the breaks because the score. I was real hyped up about scoring 3-5.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous that we scored in game 3. But this has been a series of runs. But the one undeniable fact is that the majority of this series has been played in the Rangers. So
yeah, because we can't get it, dude. We can't get any shots on goal on either end. I mean,
not even the hell with shots on goal, even attempted shots.
Attempt. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's absurd. It's absurd.
Florida's like taking shot. It can, and you look at us, we're like, okay, y'all gonna come down on the other end.
It's phenomenal. It's truly phenomenal how close this series has been, given that undeniable.
It's like they're playing a half-court offense, but a half.
Yeah.
Ice. It's like, come on.
I was getting so much anxiety in the third period watching this. And truth be told, the Rangers are not scoring how would you say, great goals.
Nope.
Some other goals they're scoring, you're like, and that's the frustration. While they have a good goaltender, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say he's a bum. He's also a finalist for that award. But he is not Igor. No, and that's what gets me crazy. I'm like, guys, you got to do a little more for your goalie, please.
That's all we got to take. We got to get on that end and take shots. I mean,
Nunez has another overtime, 3-2 in favor of the Panthers. We'll have to see about that, but I mean, bro, it's
we gotta win it. We gotta win at MSG tomorrow night.
Yeah,
we gotta win.
Yeah, because one thing I will say is, as much as I'm enjoying this hockey season, and while the Rangers do have the most comeback victories in the history of the NHL based on this season, which is also something to feel good about.
We're not going to get some cupcakes, though.
No, these guys are excellent. This is an excellent team that we are dealing with.
And speaking about injuries, before we move to the next subject, Tyrese Halliburton saying injuries play a major role. No kidding.
That is kind of comical. And, Reggie Miller kind of put the kibosh on them, too, by – it wasn't ill-willed, but, basically acknowledging the Nick injuries. He's like, I feel bad to a level. Enjoy Cancun. All right, Reggie. All right. But, Reggie has a little more right to say because, Josh Hart kind of bent it a little too much, too, by going up to him and being like, oh, this is it. Fuck you. So I understand both sides of it.
Yeah.
I got nothing but respect for Reggie, truly. As a rival, as a player, I have nothing but respect for him.
Yeah.
Halliburton and these other cats, not so much.
They haven't earned anything.
No.
Halliburton can't even stay healthy. I mean, so it's like, dude, you can't even stay on the court as much.
And that kind of opens this up.
Oh,
no, continue, Idris, but that opens this up, too. Is it fair to the Celtics for the criticism that they've been getting from all these reporters? And can the Wolves come back all the way? We'll start with the Celtics. This is my issue. With the Celtics. I'll give you a pro-Celtic and then pro-Celtic is they're doing what they have to do. They're winning. You play who's in front of you regardless of roster. It's not their fault Jimmy Butler got hurt.
Right.
It's not their fault Donovan Mitchell got hurt. And the Donovan Mitchell one gets a little spit too hard because I'm like, guys, they played better without him if we're really being honest.
Yeah, they did.
I think anyway.
Yeah.
Now, Halliburton, that's a big injury. No question about it. Top of the 8th, first and second for the Yanks. Halliburton undeniably is a huge loss for Indiana. And I wholeheartedly believe if our boys were healthy, we would have given Boston the best possible series, but that wasn't possible.
Right.
So that's my defense of Boston. But on the negative side of things, this is where I take issue and where I would worry if I was a Celtic fan. Mm-hmm. They have not been tested.
No.
At all.
No.
And while I understand that only 2 losses in the playoffs is still something to feel good about, undefeated on the road is something to feel good about. But they have not been tested, truly. And when you consider that Cleveland hung with them in a lot of close games until Boston finally pulled away, and same can be said for Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Miami was never truly in any of those games with the exception of the one that they upset them in. So
Indiana should have won game one. They gave that away.
yes, they did. And who gave that away, Idris? Mr. Halliburton.
Same guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3 turnovers in like 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Just the okay.
Yeah, man. So like kind of like the way I see it
Mhm.
is they were the class of the conference all season long. And I
Yeah.
don't think it's fair to punish a team because you can't, how do I say this properly? Like I'm a diehard Knicks fan.
Me too.
And yes, we know that the injury screwed us. But there's only so much a week removed from being kicked out of the playoffs because now you look like a hater in your own right when and I'm not about that. I do want to get on Halliburton because of his mouth. But as far as the coulda, the woulda, and the shoulda, I'm just going to say, yo, we had a good year. We got injured. We're going to come back stronger. But I'm not going to start all this BS about this would have happened and that would have happened because it's just it sounds immature.
You know what? The way I see out the Knicks this year, of course, we're all disappointed because we really thought this was the year we can at least get to the ESC.
Oh, it hurt. It hurt. It hurt.
But on the flip, like I told a Knicks fan in the Beast group, no, it was in the grown folks group. I said, I'm disappointed. I said, but I'm proud of this team because we were not supposed to do as good as we did. We did great considering walking into the season. We did great considering we lost Julius Randle and we lost Mitchell Robinson, Bogdanovich. You know, keep on, and then
that's what gets me upset with certain trolls or just people who are negative. That they try to say, "Oh, that's a loser mentality. You only got to round 2." I'm like, guys, that's the best we did in 2 decades. It doesn't take a genius to know that Leon Rose has done a great job with this roster.
Dude, they said it's not that, and for them knuckleheads, it's not losing. You could be like, if your son plays basketball and he's not supposed to start, but he winds up being the 6th man. They move him to start and he balls out and they lose the championship. You're still proud of your son because you know why? He did better. He succeeded.
My thing is this: I take it for what it is. I'm a realist. Yeah. If I see a team like Boston who's constantly flirting with winning championships and always comes up short and has loaded ass rosters, or teams like Phoenix lately, teams that are loaded, and then I look at what we do, I'm like, how bad are you think I'm truly gonna feel? I was like, because I won't. I'm proud of this team. But as the team's remaining goes, the jury's still out on the Celtics. I have to see what they do if they truly get tested. And I'm going to go on record and say this now. Whoever wins this series in the West, because it still is a series, is going to beat the Celtics, in my unbiased opinion.
I agree.
Now,
I think with Indiana, Halliburton got hurt in game 4, just like Brunson got hurt in game 6. But see, they were down 3-0, and I didn't see them coming back. Indiana was done. I don't care if Halliburton did play game 4. Had they won game 4, Boston would have knocked them out in game 5. I even going by the Knicks series, how tough we played, considering we were down 4 men. You know, one was a starter. You got the 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8th man knocked out for the rest of the series. I didn't really see us beating. I think we could have gave Boston a good run. But, I mean, in reality, I don't think we were going to beat Boston. But with Dallas and Minnesota, I think Dallas is going to win that series in 6 myself. But Dallas,
I will say this. They got to win it in 6.
They have
because while Minnesota has been very erratic at home, you don't want to play with fire. Like, because my thing is, if you revisit the first 3 games of the series, Dallas had to come from behind in critical moments to win those games.
Right.
So it's not the kind of deal, similar to what we talked about with Carolina and our Rangers. You know, these games have been close. It's not the kind of thing where it's been like utter domination.
Right.
You know, so I must admit that I myself am rooting for Dallas for a couple of reasons. This Luka-Kyrie combo has kind of grown on me.
Yeah.
There's one particular Dallas Mavericks fan that annoys the ever-living shit out of me. but I will not allow that one particular fan
Yeah.
to prevent me from wanting them to win.
Yeah.
As Minnesota goes, I see them as a young squad. There are some players on that team that I like, but I'll be honest, man. I've been really turned off with Anthony Edwards' immaturity.
Yeah.
I understand that it takes a man and a lot of nuts, so to speak, to kind of put the target on your back, but sometimes why give bulletin board material when you don't have to?
Be like Kobe. Be like Mike. Kobe, remember how they said Kobe was up 2 games? He said, we're not done.
Right.
It's not over. We still got work to do. And he, even with the game 7 and the game 4 or 5, whatever game it was, game 4, dude, just play, man.
My thing is this, man. When you get out of your mind, and I said it on the last show, and you want to talk about Jordan that negatively,
yeah,
it's not only a slap in the face to a very rich history of a very rich league. It's also, it makes you look like an idiot, true idiot.
Richie, man, and like I said, what I've seen with this generation of basketball fans, and it goes back to LeBron. This generation of basketball, and even the players, they don't respect the game. They don't respect the history of the game. They don't respect the pioneers, the ones who built the game. They don't respect it. I like Anthony Edwards, but since this playoffs, he's been acting like you hadn't won nothing, dude.
Yeah, I know, and it always. And how often do these guys come on top when you really put that target out? It's rare. And the thing that gets me, and I'm not trying to, but since you bring up LeBron, and we see it every day with this nonstop debate about LeBron, Jordan, LeBron.
It's more of his fans that do this nonsense.
How many years has LeBron been in the NBA?
20 years.
Okay, and how many rings does he have?
4.
Okay.
Right.
How many years was Jordan in the league? 15. How many rings does he have?
6.
So are we handing out silver medals and participation awards for losing NBA finals?
Michael Jordan, I think, is 12-0 in championships.
Because when Michael Jordan fell short in the East, he lost to friggin' 5 Hall of Famers. And this is the thing that gets me crazy. 63 points in a loss, and we're going to really question this man's greatness in the postseason? Is that really happening?
Hall of Fame coach. But Boston, they don't realize how Parrish freaking.
But not just 63 points in a playoff game against one of the greatest teams ever assembled in the Boston Celtics. But this is an era where everything was so much harder to score.
Yes, you didn't have a free pass.
And we got to listen to Ant-Man talking about, he didn't shoot threes at that level. I'm like, bro, he hit 7 threes in an NBA Finals game. How many Finals games you played in, Ant?
Right, and you know what? He had shooters to do that. He had Paxson to do. He had B.J. Armstrong.
My point is, like,
he didn't need to shoot threes.
If you literally, in terms of games played, are top 3 in final scoring average all time. Now Rick Barry has the record, but he's played in less finals. So when you consider what Mike's playoff, NBA Finals points per game average, let alone everything else that he offered, it's egregious to me to think that people, because time has gone by and too many idiots want to make videos and try to diminish this guy. I'm like,
you know what, Richie?
But these are people that didn't even see him play.
Right. Yeah, you know the thing about it is, and it goes back to the compare. They say, well, Jordan didn't do this. And I say, well, okay. Let's compare what Jordan went up against in his first couple of years and who he had on his team those first few years compared to what Ant-Man has his first couple of years.
That's the laughable part of it, bro.
7-foot freaking all-stars that may go in the Hall of Fame. Gobert and Cat.
And I will give credit where it's due. Knocking off the defending world champions is no small task.
Right.
But to be fair, and I'm going to give LeBron and co. a little credit here, I actually believe that the Lakers did a good job of softening up the Nuggets because the Nuggets did not win that series easily. Those games were close.
As much as I'm one. Me and Zappy are probably the biggest LeBron haters, but I'll be honest
Absolutely.
with
And I'm
you.
proud of both of you.
Had they not played Denver, they might have made it to the Western Conference Finals because they played Denver tough. Now, when Ant-Man, you know who he started to remind me of, who had the same rise not too long ago? Ja Morant.
And what happened?
Thank you.
And
He
I'm
was
not
Jordan.
forecasting that it's going to be the same way for Ant.
No,
I'm just saying that like until you win something substantial,
no,
let your game do the talking,
your
bro.
game.
I'm not
He
saying
was
lose
just
your personality. I'm
right
not saying, don't turn it up a few notches and be who you are. But to insult legends and forefathers of the game is just complete, utter ignorance, bro. And it's the
because
same shit in hip hop.
he exactly because he feels realize, dude, you are in the Western Conference. Denver's not going anywhere. They'll be back next year. The Lakers might be back
Absolutely.
in there next year. OKC,
If the
young
Lakers
team.
tweak a few things,
Yeah,
there's no reason to believe that they can't still hang because they do have a young core of
mm-hmm.
talent. When AD's right, which is 50-50, LeBron, as much as, everybody has an opinion,
Mm-hmm.
at his age, what he's doing is still pretty damn impressive. He's still a top 20 player at his age. Can't ask for
Okay,
more out of somebody that age.
OKC is a young team coming.
OKC is a young. They
Look at
need
Dallas.
they need more of an interior force over there.
Yeah, Dallas ain't going nowhere. Kyrie, if they
Dallas going
win
to win
this,
the NBA. Dallas going to
yeah,
win the NBA title.
I think
But
they will.
Nunez, I am curious though. Why are you rooting for Minnesota? I was curious, so maybe you'll hit us on the comments here. We're going to jump into
Mm-hmm.
our best guard combos. Now, mind you, this is Mike Zappi's idea. Unfortunately, Zappi was not able to be here today for something that is actually quite more important than this.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to hit on Zappi's idea. These are my rankings. Richie, these are the best combo backcourts in NBA history, in my opinion. And I want you guys to get at me in the comments if I missed anybody. This was not done. This was done quickly.
Yeah,
So I may have missed a few.
literally quickly, like 5 minutes.
I got home a lot later than I anticipated. Clay and Steph at one, the Splash Brothers. I think a lot of it also has to do with the rules now, but I'm not going to take away from the great shooting. Steph is probably the greatest pure shooter in the history of that game.
Yeah.
And, Clay is his sidekick through and through, and Clay's going to be coming back for more with them. They're keeping that together.
Keeping it together, running it back.
Yes, sir. At number 2, this is a different time. Zeke, a.k.a. Isaiah Thomas, and Joe Dumars. Each of these fellas have an NBA Finals MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Bad boy Pistons. Magic and Byron Scott, some people might see this and be like, why so high? Well, I'm not saying who the two best players on the team were. We're talking about backcourts. Mm-hmm. I do think that Byron Scott from time to time is a forgotten player.
Great shooter.
Because of the fact that you also had James Worthy on that squad. You had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on that squad. And the beginning of the Lakers, before Norm Nixon got moved out, Norm Nixon was a hell of a player before Magic completely got him pushed out the door, so to speak. You had Hayward, who unfortunately, with his drug addiction, was not able to really reap the benefits of the work that he put in because he was a hell of an enforcer. Lakers had some phenomenal teams during that.
Klay Thompson's father, too.
Indeed. And that's so funny that you said that because I was literally about to say that. A lot of people don't know that that's a father and son situation.
Oh, father and son. Both played in Cali.
But truthfully, the reason why I have Magic and Scott ranked that high, it's simple to me. The Los Angeles Lakers of the Showtime edition, to me, are one of the two teams headed by one of two players that literally saved the league. So yes, if we're talking backcourts and what they brought into your living room as frequently as they did, they have to be in my top 5. If I put them a little too high, get at me. Let me know. Mm-hmm. Bob Cousy and K.C. Jones of the 60s Boston Celtics. Some people might think I have them too low. Maybe I do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I saw these guys play, but I personally believe that the peak of NBA was pick your favorite year of the 80s and drive it into the majority of the 90s and the early 2000s. No knock on these men, no knock on the great Bill Russell. But I think athletically, there were a lot of variables, but I don't believe in punishing guys because they played in the era either. So that's kind of where I got them. Rounding it out, just so you guys know I'm not a complete homer. You know I love my Knicks. Earl the Pearl Monroe and Walt Clyde Frazier winning 2 championships against the Los Angeles Lakers in the 70s, 70 and 73 to be exact. The Knicks still have not tasted that accomplishment since this particular backcourt did it. Famously stated in He Got Game, Denzel Washington, speaking to his son, Jesus Shuttlesworth, played by the great Ray Allen, said, you know, some people know Mike as Black Jesus, but what a lot of people lose sight of is that Earl of Pearl Monroe was the original one in terms of the way he was recognized. And Denzel basically said in the movie that he felt the Knicks had the clamps on him because they had more of playing a role, where when he was in Baltimore, he was more of just his talents were more on display all the way around.
Yeah. Stockton
Hornacek never won a championship together, but they were pretty dang good. Yeah, thanks to Mike. A lot of guys. Darks and Harper. They didn't win one together. Thanks to Mike. Kobe and Derek Fisher did win quite a bit together. The reason why I don't have them a little higher, I understand that Derek Fisher was on a lot of these championship teams.
You there? Oh, shoot, you froze. Or did I freeze? I don't know if he froze or I froze. I think he froze. On his list,
Punish.
Okay,
I don't want to punish guys for, they had a Hall of Fame teammate. Or like Avery Johnson was the original point guard with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. But I still got to mention them.
Okay.
Got to mention them.
Yeah. With me, I agree with your list. I would move Magic and Scott to number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would move. Reason being I moved them to number 1 because like I said, Showtime Lakers and who they beat, 76ers, they beat the Celtics. That team was crazy, man.
Yeah, they certainly
led by Magic and Byron Scott.
And if anybody wants to know how important Byron Scott was, because we don't know about Magic,
yeah,
revisit the 91 NBA Finals and look how lost the Lakers were with an injured Byron Scott, a guy playing through pain and things of that nature.
Let me see. I would
and by all means, you could add other guys.
I like Uzi and Jones where they are. Monroe Fisher. Monroe Frazier. I would actually move Magic and Scott to number 1. I go Casey and Cousy number 2. I go Steph and Clay number 3. I move Monroe and Frazier number 4. I'm dropping Dumars and Zeke for the fact of the championships, and they were great. Don't get me wrong. But I'm gonna put Gerald Henderson and oh shoot, what's his name? Played Dennis Johnson for the Celtics.
Okay.
Johnson was actually a shooting guard, while Gerald Henderson was the point guard.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Johnson was a damn good shooter, though. Good point.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Johnson also play in Seattle?
Huh? Yeah, he won a championship in Seattle.
He did, right? Okay, I thought he did. Okay.
Yeah, it's 1979 with they played the Washington Bullets. I would put Zeke and Dumars at number 6.
Hold on. We got to slow down here. Kobe and Fisher not in the top 5 is horrendous, man. I don't know. Shaquille O'Neal, the offense ran through him
Yeah,
for three of those 5 championships.
They ran through Shaq.
I think the fact that I'm mentioning Derek Fisher at all
Yeah,
is actually something that I deserve a high five for.
We're putting teams where the game ran through these guys. It ran through Clay and Steph. It ran through Zeke.
Yeah.
It ran through Magic.
Fisher had his moments.
Yeah, but it ran through these guys. It ran through these
But
guards.
if Kobe wasn't the 2 card, are we talking about Derek Fisher?
Right.
Let's say hypothetically, if they kept Eddie Jones, are we talking about Derek Fisher ever?
Oh, Eddie Jones is right.
Part of the reason why Derek Fisher worked so well for them is because with those 2 other egos, you could not afford to have an ego at point guard.
No,
sir. And when they brought in the glove, how'd that work out? When they brought in the mailman, how'd that work out?
They got swept.
There was only room for 2.
They got swept.
There was only room for 2.
Yeah. So
Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, and Chauncey.
Chauncey deserve to be on this list as well.
I put them in the top 10 though.
Yeah, for sure. And truthfully, I would go as far as saying, that, nah, I wouldn't put him ahead of Kobe and Fisher because it was a shorter sample size. Ginobili and Parker, though, you could make an honorable case, could be ahead of Kobe and Fisher. Because remember, I'm not saying that somebody's better than Kobe. This is based on backcourts, which means that Kobe might lose some points because of the guy that he's with in the backcourt.
Right. Exactly. And remember, Fisher went to was it OKC for a couple of years, and he came back.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So
something that's interesting though here that I wanted to, and once again, this was based off an early conversation with Zappy this morning. The variable. No, we all know that Scottie Pippen was not listed as a shooting guard until his later years when he was actually a member of the Portland Trailblazers.
Right.
But the reason why I want to make an even extra honorable mention for Jordan and Pippen is for the sheer fact that I wouldn't insult anyone's intelligence. Yankees just won 2-1. Luis Gil improves to 7-1 on the year.
That kid is balling.
Yes, he is. He's special. He's going to be special.
I did not expect that.
No, I'm very pleased. One of the many reasons the Yankees are the best team in the American League still. Back to this. Pippen ran the offense.
Pretty much.
Revolutionized something that they called the point forward.
Yeah. Because
if you look at the point guards, with the exception of Ron Harper, Steve Kerr, John Paxson, B.J. Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong was probably the most qualified to run the point out of those 3 men that I mentioned.
Yeah.
But the point to be made is, if you look particularly even more so into that second three-peat, Scotty really proved his worth as a guy who could run the offense and take a lot off of Mike. So while I will not consider that backcourt, so to speak, that's why they're not up here, I still want people to think about that aspect of it because of the sheer fact that it was the first kind of time it's ever really happened. Unless if you want to go to Magic Johnson, because as we all know, Magic, what made him so phenomenal is that he could play any position on the court.
Yeah.
As a rookie, he filled in for an injured Kareem and played center.
In the championship. In the deciding game.
Game 7 in Philadelphia. Very impressive.
Here's a side note to that. Like I said, that's when I was almost a Sixers fan, because Dr. J, that's the days of closed circuit where the game was won, but they say, turn off your TV because we're about to tell you the score.
You know what's wild? You know what's wild about that too?
Yeah.
Is that Kobe Bryant's father, if I'm not mistaken, was a member of that series.
Yeah, Joe Bryant, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know if they sensationalized it in that Showtime series.
Yeah.
But the very first game that season was Philly and the Lakers. And a baby Kobe was in the crowd. I don't know, but that's a little bit of satire too. So I don't necessarily know if he was there.
Kobe's daughter playing basketball now. You see that?
Is that right?
His youngest one is playing ball. Yeah.
That makes me happy to hear that. It's just such a loss when you think about what Gianna could have been.
Yeah.
That is a loss for the sport on so many levels.
His youngest one is on the court playing ball. Yeah, when I saw that today, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, bro.
His wife posted it.
That's good stuff.
Some WNBA players are working with her, which is great. I was like, hell yeah.
I did want to ask you about this since you brought up the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Jamil Hill's comments in reference, and I'll be honest with you, for the most part, I always kind of vibed with her.
I do too,
but I don't like this one. And what she basically said about Caitlin Clark is that she's stupid popular. And correct me if I'm paraphrasing wrong, but basically she's a straight woman. And because she's white? Was it because she's white? Or was it because...
It was both. She's a straight woman and she's white. You know what?
What the fuck does that mean?
You know what? Caitlin Clark is popular for what she did at Iowa.
I would like to think so, because I certainly see my fair share of memes of people trashing her based on her appearance, which is actually incredibly immature in its own right.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is Photoshop because I've looked at it. I mean, even But
I'm not that sensitive. A joke is a joke is a joke.
It's a joke. Yeah, it's a joke.
But what I'm saying is like, okay, is somebody gonna really tell me that Angel Reese isn't cashing in on her good looks? Come on, man. Or that Cardoza woman?
Yeah.
What's her name? Cardoza? Yeah. They're beautiful girls. They're beautiful girls.
It's 7, she bad.
And I'm not shitting on their game, but nobody's gonna tell me that Angel Reese might not jump a couple of heads because of the fact that she's very beautiful.
And she admits it.
And I appreciate that. That's being real.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, and it's not even so much if I'm a Caitlin Clark fan or not. It's just like Jamil Hill has certain points, and I understand why her positions are so tight. But I've said this before, and I will say it again.
Yeah.
You can't be that abrasive to those different when you're all constantly crying for unity and acceptance.
Man,
come on, Jamel, do better.
You know, with Jamel Hill, I used to be a big fan of her.
I liked her on the mothership when she was on ESPN.
See, but her problem is she does race bait, and she also goes at men. Also, she's like one of them. She's like what the neo-Nazi feminists I kind of talk about, because she'll bash men in a minute, and she bash. And I mean, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm more a fan of Angel Reese because she played for LSU. I'm LSU. I mean, I'm LSU all day, Angel Reese all day, the Tiger in the Sky. But
I'm just a fan of Angel Reese, bro. I don't care if she never played basketball. That's just me, though.
But with
and
I go at them knuckleheads on my page. Caitlin Clark is getting it because of what she did, because of her, and because of her rivalry with Angel Reese. The WNBA players are making money.
No doubt.
Now these knuckleheads, she's not being promoted because she's white. She's the cash cow. You gotta. That's who you want to market her.
And I said this on a previous show. I believe it was a previous show. If not, it was definitely off air. But I mentioned to you that the higher that Caitlin Clark's star rises, those who are rivals of her rise along, because it's still the same algorithm of business as with Bird and Magic.
You're trying to make exactly. You got Angel
Bird and Magic saved a league that was judged and prejudged and always judged as they don't give a shit. There's just nothing. Everybody's coked out of their brain and da-da-da. Like, but they brought such a dynamic to the sport that MJ took it global. But those are the dudes that saved the league. Those two guys that headed those two franchises.
You know what you see? You compared the two on a few shows back. And the comparison is so much deeper than that. Because it's
not about the complexion. No. It's deeper than that.
But listen, check it out. You know what? The way you put it was perfect. To could add to it. Bird was from a small little hick town in Indiana.
Yes, sir. French Lick. The hick from French Lick is what they called him.
And Magic was from Michigan.
Yeah, Detroit.
Then you got Caitlin Clark.
East Lansing.
Yeah, Detroit. And you got Caitlin Clark from a small town, big time college, but small town. Right. And you got Angel Reese from LSU. She's really from Maryland,
right?
Baltimore,
right?
So you got the same comparisons, But these knuckleheads want to compare. It ain't about.
But you know the irony with reference to Clark is that I made the Bird and Magic assimilation between these two young women, and then it's like you have she gets drafted by Indiana, and Bird's from Indiana, and then Bird coached Indiana in the pros.
And you know the also
damn near
beat
Michael Jordan. Damn
you
near.
know, also think about it. Magic played Bird in the national championship.
Yes, sir.
Angel Reese played Caitlin
Yes,
Clark.
sir.
You know what I mean?
Instead of like all this hate back and forth, why don't we just celebrate that the WNBA is finally fucking relevant?
Making money.
Yes.
It's
like they're supposed to be celebrating. These women actually like each other. That's the part that bothers me.
They're not playing coach anymore. They're flying private planes.
It's like
last year they were flying commercial.
There are things that need to be addressed. But why does everything have to be derived from something negative?
Right. These girls are finally bringing something to the WNBA they hadn't seen since the first year they came out. They didn't make any money.
Yeah, because I remember initially, and I know we had this conversation in the past. Rebecca Lobo was one of the original faces.
Rebecca, and
she had the college success.
Everybody at UConn, right?
Right. But it's like, guys, this isn't like some mystery. Every fan, no matter what your cultural background is, wants to have an athlete on some level that you think you could be. And I hate to break it to you guys, there's a distinct possibility that athlete might have to look like you a little.
Right. You know what?
It doesn't mean that I'm not rocking like all kinds of different jerseys of people that I admire. But the point I'm making is like, yeah, I'm gonna freaking get hype if the big ragu is like stepping up. Because there's not enough big ragus.
I tell all of them that talk to us.
I get mad with the the white guy on Dallas, like the casual. That dude's from overseas. That's not a Caucasian American dude, you knucklehead. I just hate the stupidity.
I'm glad Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark came out at the same. They both had one more year they could have stuck around. They both came out. Even Angel Reese said, I don't got to come back out. I'm making money here.
Damn right. That's why Caitlin Clark's not tripping over them making less. And while I love Cheryl Miller, I respect Cheryl Miller. Yeah. She's like the godmother to all this.
Yeah.
Where I think even she's out of place. Or out of touch, rather.
You mean Cheryl Swoops? Yeah, Cheryl Swoops.
Well, Cheryl Miller, too. Because I saw Cheryl Miller rocking the shirt at one of the games recently about equal pay and da-da-da. I'm like, with all due respect, they're not bringing that kind of profit in where you could justify the same pay. That's what it's about, guys.
NBA making $10 billion a
year,
minimum.
Yes.
They were making $60
and they fund this league. That's what I'm trying to say. But the fact that these women are getting big time endorsements,
yes,
that's a huge step in the right direction.
Now I can see Diana Taurasi saying how she get here.
Diana Taurasi was a dog in her case.
She's a dog. Yeah, she's one of my favorite all time.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I remember her.
I always felt I would like to see her on NBA court because Diana Taurasi is the shit.
Yeah, Diana Taurasi was nice.
She's the shit. I rooted for her going back to college. That's my girl. But and it's good to have that rivalry, you know. But it's
thank you, Daniel. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Because they're not promoting this girl because she's white. Look what she did the final 2 years at Iowa. She lit that bitch up.
That's what I'm getting at, bro. It's like greatness recognizes greatness, and greatness doesn't come with a complexion. That's all I'm trying to convey here.
She's finding her groove finally.
And the same way that I get frustrated, like, okay, last thing, and we got a minute, but we could go a little past. This is something I am happy about.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, the Negro Leagues are getting their all the way just due.
But you see who's number one now, right?
Yes, sir. But Bob Gibson jumping a lot of people. But you know what really bothers me?
Yeah.
And this is the other side of it. So now I'm going to call out some folks that were upset about this.
Yeah.
While I'm not going to debate that maybe in some brackets of the Negro Leagues, you didn't necessarily have the same quality of talent because the lower tier of your league versus the upper tier of your league was good enough to play in MLB and run it.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily the bottom tier, but this is what pisses me off. How can people say, oh, it's not fair? They weren't allowed to play with them. That's
And when
not
they did
fair.
jump over, they beat them.
But
Remember, I
that's
remember,
what
I think
pisses
one of
me
the teams
off,
beat the LA
Idris. It's
Kings.
like
They beat them.
I saw stuff on social media today. I'm like, wow, bro, where's your sheet? I
Right?
literally
Yeah.
felt like saying that to some folks today because it's like they're literally coming out of their skin because black players who were not allowed to play with white players are jumping them now. And then
I,
people
I
had
got.
the audacity. Well, what
Mhm.
about Japanese? This is how stupid and how out of touch people are. I'm like, dude, they are Americans. It's
It's
not the same
American.
thing.
Yes, different
And
leagues.
I have to explain this to somebody.
They had a game, a series. I think that if somebody, one of them teams played the Yankees, I think they beat the shit out of them.
One thing I respect about Ruth that I want to say
Yeah.
every opportunity Babe Ruth got,
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to test himself against Negro League players.
Yep.
And I think,
Yep.
yeah, and I think that's pretty awesome because, quite frankly, I think that shows that Babe Ruth was a forward thinker and he wanted these men
He gets a bad
included.
rap.
Yes, indeed.
He was not like people say. Babe,
Even Ty Cobb, he had a bad rap until people started spitting facts about it, and then now they're like trying to apologize and renege and da da da.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else. I'm not trying to change history, but I want it told right. But I'm sorry if these men were not allowed to be in the league, then why are you worried about their lower tier players? You get where I'm going. You get where I'm going, right? You get where I'm going, right? You get where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's a crock of shit. Go watch the World Baseball Classic. Don't tell me that we are always the best, because that's a crock of shit.
Right.
Woo! Until next time. He is Idris. I am Richie, and we appreciate you guys staying up late with us and rocking with this show, and just always all the support you guys always give us. Announcements to come for our next show. As you know, we are usually always going to be doing Wednesdays because Idris and I always get together after the Casual Convo.
After the show too.
Yeah, and that's coming incredibly soon. I'm so glad that I have leftover rice. Thank God.
I'll give you something to eat.
Oh, I'm starving. Until next time, we out.